Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is FPL Elman. So we're going to be going through my Game 32 team selection. As you already see from the title, I'm going to be activating my wild card. Also in this video is going to be my Game 31 team review and also achieve strategy for the remaining few games. So make sure you stay tuned for all of that. But before we get into that, I'd like to thank you all guys for the continued support on the channel. I think we're currently around 25 subscribers away from 1,000, which is the goal before the start of the World Cup. So if you are new around here or just a regular viewer, make sure you hit that sub button, make sure you leave a like, make sure you hit that bell, don't miss any content going up on the channel. Without wasting any much time, let's get straight into it. So first, let's start off with my game 31. Team review wanted to score 55 points, giving overall points to 1,782, and a small red arrow from 545k, 551k. Not the worst, but still not really something I'd want. But yeah, in goal by Bruggen, who against Liverpool, 3 points. Anderson, Van Dijk, all blank for 3, respectively. Thiago, unfortunately, not start for 0 points. Then you had Bruno Fernandes, goal and an assist for 13 points. I did not captain him once again. Then you had Wilson, who got a goal for 18 points, who was my captain for game 31. Utara blank and Rogers finally getting some attacking returns with an assist. Ekitike, João Pedro, and Thiago all blanking. Thiago, funny enough, coming out with DEFCON points, which was very funny. In the bench, the less talked about it, the better, to be honest. But to be fair, Rodon, 6 points, managing to keep a clean sheet. So that's my game 31 team review. Not the best game week because of just the red arrows. So let's look at game 32 has in store for us. So before we get into my game 32 wildcard draft or other team selection, I want to go through my cheap strategy. So I decided to go for wildcard 32 compared to wildcard 35 because I just prefer the simplicity of doing wildcard 32. Bench was 33 on the double game week because I'm going to be having around 13 doublers or 14 doublers. So yeah, bench was 33. And then free 34 for the blank game week because of the FA Cup games. And then triple captain 36 on Haaland if they manage to get that double in 36 or it's going to be 37. Don't really know, but yeah, 70 for captain for Haaland. Then we have if you have no wild card, I think this is the best strategy to go for. Free 33 to target the double game week, bench boost 36 to target also the double game week players, mostly from Crystal Palace and Man City. So yeah, I think they hold that one for them. Then triple captain, I think it's just team dependent. Whether you feel it's the right time to triple captain, I think that's going to be up to you. So that's my cheap strategy for both people with wild card and those without a wild card. Remember in the comments what your cheap strategy is going to be. Now let's look at my game 32 team selection. So now we're going to go through my game 32 wildcard draft, or rather my game 32 team selection. And the main focus on this team is going to be players who are going to be having that double in game 33, just focusing on that. I think I'm going to go without two doublers or maybe one doubler. So you're going to see how that one is going to play out. But for here, we're going to be focusing on game 31. So we're going to be having Verbruggen in there against Burnley, just hoping for some save points, some clean sheets in there, and hoping for a good double game week as well. Then we have Dalot playing against Talents United. I think he's just going to be on the bench, so I'm going to be focusing for him on the double. Playing against United, the first time I've transferred Dubravka as I've owned him since game week 1, but I do prefer the Leeds defensive structure compared to Burnley. I think Burnley are too open compared to Leeds, so that's why I've done the transfer and gone for Dalot in there instead. Then to the defenders, we're going to be having Van Heke playing against Burnley game 31, looking for a clean sheet in there. Maybe a cheeky attacking return could also go a very, very long way. Then we have Hill from Bournemouth, 4.2 million. I think is just a cheap option since my position right now, I don't have a very strong budget to work with. So I've gone for Hill in there, 4.2 million against Arsenal. Probably going to be on the bench for game week 31 if I'm being, I mean for game week 32 if I'm being honest. Then we have O'Reilly against Chelsea. He's been very, very attacking if you watch the Man City games, even the two goals he scored in the Carabao Cup final against Arsenal are very, very good goals. So yeah, I've gone for him in there just because very attacking. I think it's also a cheaper way to get into that Man City defense. Can you believe 5 million is the cheapest Man City defender? So yeah, O'Reilly is in there. Then you have Gabriel, who's going to be my first person who's going to be doubling in game 33. So playing against Bournemouth, and to be honest, I'm really thinking of not having him in there. But I'm going to talk about that later on in the video, so stay tuned for that. So yeah, Gabriel against Bournemouth, just hoping for a clean sheet. He hasn't blanked in the last 3 game weeks, which is amazing. I think he's gotten 9, 11, 9 in the last 3 game weeks. So yeah, it's going to be very difficult to go without him in the wildcard draft. So yeah, then you have Bijol against Manchester United. Is going to be on the bench. Presently, I don't have the funds to go for Strike, who's maybe a more attractive player to go for compared to Bijol. But I still think Visual is a very good option at 3.9 million as well. Very, very good. And so I'm going to be going for him in there. And then for the other consideration, I do think Senesi is a very, very strong consideration. If you have the funds to go for Senesi, I'd definitely go for him over someone like Hill. So I think Senesi offers you a lot of DEFCON points. It also Trufe also offers you DEFCON points and also attacking returns. So I think it's up to you, but I like the defenders I've gone for, and I'm going to stick with them for now. So with that, now let's look at my midfield. So that my midfield is going to be looking like going to be having Gomez from Brighton. I think it's around 4.9 million. Very differential pick at around 0.5% ownership. The only concern when it comes to Gomez, he is one yellow card away from missing 2 games. So that's why I'm going to be 50-50 on him. The pros and cons, I think the pros outweigh the cons, but the con, when it happens, it's a very, very bad thing to happen. So yeah, but for now, Gomez is in there. I don't have the funds to go for the likes of Mitoma, Minte, or Pascal Gross, so I'm just going to stick with Gomez, but we'll see how it's going to change. Then you have Palmer playing against Man City. Not really an attractive pick. I just think he's there because of the double game. If not for the double game week, I will not be looking at Palmer at all. But yeah, the double game week is here, so he's going to be in there. And I hope against Man City, can be able to maybe to perform or maybe score a cheeky penalty or something. He's been very, very poor this season. So all you can do is hope that he performs in both this game week and the double game week. Then you have Cavani playing against Arsenal, probably going to be on the bench for this game. But I do think Arsenal are very susceptible when it comes to defending against the lower block teams because of counter attacks. Maybe Cavani might be decent. He's also on set pieces, also on penalties. So maybe he's going to be in the team on the bench. But yeah, we'll have to see how he's going to play out. Then you have Bruno Fernandes playing against Leeds. I think it's going to be my captain as well for in this game week. They're going to be playing on Monday, so it's going to be fun to see people who do not captain Bruno Fernandes have an absolute meltdown if their player blanks and actually be able to perform. But I do think many people are going to captain Bruno Fernandes. Or maybe people are going to captain Haaland back in form, but that's story for another time. Then you have Semenyo finishing off the midfield for this wildcard team, playing against Chelsea. I don't think it's going to have a very good performance. Chelsea have been very poor defensively. So yeah, Semenyo in there, and he's also been in very good form for Semenyo. Then my other consideration is Anthony Gordon. Of course, not doubling in game 33, but Newcastle fixtures are very, very good on paper until the end of the season. So maybe a slight consideration there. But I do prefer the other midfielders just because of that double coming up, maybe apart from Bruno Fernandes, who's not going to have a double game 33. So that's the midfield, looks pretty solid. And let's look at the forward line. So this is how the forward line is going to be looking like. Going to be having João Pedro in there playing against Man City in game 31. I've had him for a very, very long time. It just feels terrible not to have him in the wildcard draft. I hope he can be able to perform against Man City and also be able to perform in a double game 33. So the next player is going to be DCL in there. Play against Manchester United. He did score in the reverse fixture, so maybe it might be ideal to start him in there. He's also on penalties, so very, very ideal. I've considered having 2 penalties in the last 4 games, so there's a high chance can work another penalty. So the CL is in there and just hoping for double game we can be able to perform as well. Then we have Haaland finishing off the wildcard draft, of course. Haaland back in the team for me. I did not have him initially since I sold him to Ekitike, who was subbed off after 10 minutes. Just my luck this season has been very, very shocking. But yeah, Haaland back in the team against Chelsea. Tried to pick up a little bit of form, scoring a hat-trick against Liverpool in the FA Cup. Of course, on penalties. So yeah, Haaland back in the team. Other consideration is Bowen. And for Bowen, I just think you're going to have him for game 32 and they play Wolves, then have to transfer him out because the pictures for West Ham are not looking very, very great. So yeah, but I'm very happy with Joao Pedro, DCL, and Haaland compared to having Bowen in there. So yeah, that's my wildcard draft. So I want to show you another draft that is not going to have Gabriel. So let's look at that one. So this is my wildcard draft without having Gabriel in there, and I'm slightly leaning towards this draft compared to the other draft that you've already seen, and it's going to it's going to be Gabriel to Trufe just to get some funds in there. I cannot afford Senesi, unfortunately. Then do Gomez to Minte or Pascal Gross, but I'm leaning towards Minte at the moment. And that will also give me the chance maybe to do Calvert Lewin to Bowen, just having for that old fixture and then transfer him out to DCL, or rather just have DCL in there and have some money in the bank down the line to be able to buy the likes of Gabriel and so when they have that double game week or something like that, and they have very good fixtures coming up. So this is the second wildcard draft. Let me know down in the comments which one do you prefer. Do you prefer the wildcard draft 1 or the wildcard draft 2? And if you manage to reach this far, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And also check out my socials. Links are down in the description. I go every before the deadline stream. I go live on TikTok. So if you want to miss that, it's very, very interactive chat there over on TikTok. And with that, I'd like to thank you all guys for watching, and I'll see you all guys later. Bye bye.